Hi, this is Rob Heppell from funeralfutures.com, and today I'm with Marc Gaudreau. Marc, welcome to Funeral Gurus.
Thanks, Rob.
Marc, maybe if you could just tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and then I want to talk about Celebrants.
Okay. Well, we're part of a third generation family-owned funeral home in Western Mass. Do about anywhere from 215 to 230 calls a year, and about 7-8 years ago, I think it was about 7 years ago, attended NFDA in San Antonio, and Doug Manning and his daughter Glenda had done a mock funeral service with Wilbur, and my stepdaughter and I, she's a third generation in our business, and we were there, and at the end of the 40-minute presentation that they had done, I looked over at her and said, that's the future of funeral service in our country. That's where it's going. Because as Doug would tell you, you're a celebrant. It really started in Australia and New Zealand and things like that. So it's catching on greatly here. Unfortunately, majority of our population, especially the youth, is unchurched. So when they come to the funeral home, they're turning to us to say, what can we do? Dad or mom really hasn't been in church in a while. We really don't know what we want to do. Or there was some spirituality, but we don't want to just center it around that. Although we'd like to try to involve all of that, because everyone in the audience, you're also trying to incorporate. So there's a lot of people that are spiritual that need that type of consolation during the funeral service, so you can't ignore that. So we really found, from a professional standpoint, becoming certified celebrants just elevated us professionally, just within ourselves, how we feel about what we do, and the way we handle our families now, and the seriousness in which we take that. We always took it very seriously, but this just took it to a whole nother level, and how we're looked at in the community when people really want, this type of service done. And more people, we feel our growth and the way people look at us is a direct result of becoming certified. Great.
Now, and what about the whole concept of the MC as well, being the MC, because I know Doug and Glenda talk about that. How have you worked that? And for people who are ministers, but they're doing that portion of the service, and you're still looking after the rest of the emceeing of the service. How does that work?
I think it works great. You're no longer an order taker sitting in the back of the, in the back of the room. You're really in control of it, especially when the family doesn't really know the minister, and you're bringing in a minister or a priest that they don't know. The first thing we really did is reach out to our clergy and let them know that we are all celebrants, and we're not trying to, step on their toes and do their job, because we really don't. And I think a lot of the clergy that have finally come in and seen part of that actually like it, because it's taking a little heat off of them, especially when they don't know the family. It's making it all encompassing, so we're including everybody, and we get along great with the clergy. I think a lot of celebrants, or a lot of people, were afraid of, how am I going to offend the clergy?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they going to think we're taking over their job? And by all means, no. Like I said in the beginning, we really like to include them, but a lot of times they're just not part of it, because the family wasn't spiritual. So when that's not being the MC, basically you are the celebrant. You're the person really bringing things in, and it doesn't have to be really complicated. People wonder, well, what's it all about? And it really starts with really taking your time with the family and doing a life interview and really showing them that you care.
Yeah.
And then from there, that everything just flows, and they get involved, and the feedback you get from the family, and the way you feel about it, you feel good about what we're doing. You feel like they're just not coming in and you're seeing them and whatever. You really bond with the family. You make this relationship with them that you never would have had before, and that's one of the most powerful things. And just being the MC, I don't really ever look at it that way. I just look at it as being the whether clergy is involved or not, we're the ones that are really controlling the whole thing and really facilitating it, and it's extremely powerful for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. The greatest compliment that I ever heard about that was at the end of the service, someone came up and they said, "Rob, you know what? I didn't want to have a funeral, but I want one of those." Right. And I think things like that are just make it all worthwhile.
Well, the interesting thing is sometimes when even as an owner, I'm we all have certain things. My wife is running it, or my daughter, or someone else in the funeral home, another woman, Crystal, who works for us, the other directors. If we're out doing something and assisting, because it's not our family, so we're out doing other things to be there, the people that come out the door the comments are like, wow, I've never been to anything like that. This is what I want to have, and this is where I'm coming, you know. And for us, it's very powerful because we have a new facility in a town relatively new, about 8 years old, and our growth, I think, has been directly related to us becoming Celebrants and doing things differently. No cookie cutter. Everything's different, celebrating life in a different way every time, and the whole idea of it is really neat because I think people are afraid of it, but once, as you know, you've been through it, and at first, when you go to get certified, you're like, wow, this is, how am I going to do this? And after you do it a few times, it's easy. You have systems in place, you really know the information to gather, you incorporate the family, music, candles, whatever you want. It's easy.
Yeah.
You know, it is. But like you say, I think the biggest thing is when you hear families walking away and saying, that was a great service. And that's what we're doing, you know. And or I wish I had, you know, for our contemporaries, my contemporaries, I feel bad, so sometimes I say, well, what are they doing when I see people say, well, gee, you know, I wish so-and-so's service was like that. And you're like, you know, you miss that opportunity. We have one shot. And you better do it. And the reason we're suffering in funeral today is that people don't find value in what we do. And as a whole in funeral service. And that has been from years and years of people just really not of doing the same thing. And people don't want that old type of funeral anymore. They want something different. And I think this is at least a way to, something that everyone should explore.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you just go to insightbooks.com and you can find out information there. And
where the schedule is and where they're having the training. It's relatively easy training and kind of gets you out of your you know, it disturbs you. It gets you out of your mold of what you're doing, but that's good because if it does that, you're going to grow.
Exactly. Well, excellent. Hey, Mark.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Good luck to you. Thank you.
You're a guru and you're watching funeralgurus.com.